are, there's like 35 different assets that have been filed for.
In crypto, we do offer crypto ETFs, Bitcoin futures.
Hey everyone, so we've been seeing some absolutely massive moves in the altcoin ETF space lately. And honestly, it's pretty exciting stuff. But here's the thing, and this is the big elephant in the room right now. We're all just waiting to see which ETFs actually get approved, you know? And here's where it gets a bit frustrating. With the government shutdown still happening, we're basically in a waiting game. The reality is, we need the government up and running to get those crucial ETF updates we're all hoping for. It's like being stuck in traffic when you're already late. But here's what I want you to focus on while we wait. The demand for altcoin ETFs is absolutely through the roof. And get this, we're right at that sweet spot where altcoin season hasn't even started yet. These ETFs could be the spark that ignites the biggest altcoin rally we've ever seen. Now, let me tell you about something really interesting that happened with XRP ETFs. On October 11th, we got some major news. Picture this. While the entire crypto market was having a meltdown, Ripple quietly made their power move. They filed fresh amendments for XRP ETFs with the SEC. We're talking about Canary Capital and 21 shares here. It's like watching someone play chess while everyone else is panicking. John Squire dropped some big updates on this, and let me tell you, the XRP ETF developments are getting real. And speaking of ETFs, there's a whole bunch of decisions coming down the pipeline that could change everything. All right, so let's talk about the big one. Grayscale just passed their milestone, which is huge. But here's the catch. We didn't get the explosive update we were all hoping for, and you can probably guess why. Yep, that government shutdown is still hanging over us like a dark cloud. But listen, I'm genuinely excited about what's coming next. The moment that government reopens, I think we're looking at a complete game changer for ETF decisions. It's going to be like opening the floodgates. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the actual chances that XRP ETFs get approved and we see them trading live? Here's my honest take. I think the odds are looking pretty darn good, and let me tell you why. First off, the SEC has been crystal clear about something. Crypto is literally their #1 priority right now. They're not just talking the talk either. They're actively pushing forward on major crypto initiatives. We're seeing movement on tokenization, DeFi projects, and yes, ETFs are absolutely at the top of that list. And here's the kicker. With that new framework that just got approved, I genuinely believe we're going to see a lot of these ETFs get fast-tracked through the system. It's like they finally built the highway, and now all these ETF applications can cruise right through instead of getting stuck in traffic. The pieces are falling into place, folks. Hey, quick pause here for a second. I've got to share something huge with you. Gold just smashed through to a brand new all-time high yesterday, and honestly, this is massive news that you need to know about. Now, if you're looking to ride the wave in both the precious metals space and the crypto market, that's where ITR Capital becomes your absolute game changer. These guys offer both crypto trading and precious metals like gold and silver. But wait, there's so much more to this story. And here's something really cool. If you want to tap into your IRA funds to diversify your portfolio with both crypto and precious metals, you can absolutely do that. It's like getting the best of both worlds in your retirement account. Plus, they've got premium custody accounts that cover both crypto and precious metals, so you're getting that extra layer of security for everything. If you're ready to dive into this opportunity, I've got you covered. Just check out my link in the description and comments below. Here's the deal. When you deposit $1,000, you'll instantly get a sweet $100 funding bonus absolutely free. It's like getting free money just for getting started. Seriously, why wait? Go grab that bonus right now while it's still available. All right, now let's jump back into the good stuff and talk about what's really happening in the market. Now here's something really interesting. The biggest roadblock we're facing with ETFs right now, it's actually not whether the SEC will approve them or not. It's actually the government shutdown that's throwing a wrench in everything. And get this, we've got some breaking news here that's pretty wild. The US government is now on track to be shut down for over 40 days, which would make it the longest shutdown in American history. We're talking about something that could last 5 times longer than your typical shutdown. Now, hold on. This forecast is coming from KHI, which is basically a retail betting app. So here's my take. I really don't think we'll actually have to wait a full 40 days, and here's why I'm optimistic. When retail investors are betting on something this extreme, history shows us that things usually resolve much faster than expected. It's like when everyone expects the worst, that's usually when things turn around. We'll definitely need to keep our eyes on this situation, but when it comes to those ETFs we've been talking about, So we just got this amazing insight from Nate Geraci, and this guy really knows his stuff when it comes to ETF analysis. He dropped this bombshell. Once the government shutdown ends, the spot crypto ETF floodgates are going to open wide. And here's the kicker. He points out how ironic it is that growing fiscal debt and the usual political drama are the very things holding these ETFs back. It's literally the exact problems that crypto was designed to solve in the first place. And you know what? This hits me right in the feels as an XRP holder. I swear it feels like everything related to XRP has been one delay after another. Remember the SEC lawsuit? Delay, 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 until we finally broke through that wall. And now, here we are again, waiting on ETFs because of another delay. We're basically sitting here twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the government to get its act together so these spot crypto ETFs can finally get their decisions. But here's what gets me excited. Just like Nate said, when that shutdown ends, it's going to be like opening the floodgates on a dam. And honestly, I can't think of a better altcoin to be holding when that moment hits than XRP. I mean, when you look back at those ETF filings for XRP, there's just so much waiting to get the green light. I'm genuinely convinced that XRP is going to be the altcoin you'll want in your portfolio the moment this government shutdown wraps up. This could be absolutely massive. And wait, there's more! We just got this incredible update from ZCrypto featuring James Seafair, and this is going to blow your mind. Are you ready for this? There are over 150 digital asset ETFs just sitting there, waiting for approval. Can you believe that number? James specifically called out XRP and Solana ETFs as being part of the next massive wave that's coming our way. And here's where it gets really exciting. We all witnessed the absolute explosion that happened when Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs went live, right? The volume, the price action, the institutional money flooding in. Now just imagine that same tsunami of liquidity hitting XRP. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. You've got to see this update for yourself.
There's like 35 different assets that have been filed for. So I mean, some of them are leveraged, some of them are inverse. Like you name it, the issuers are filing to launch these things. But as you mentioned, the government's in a shutdown, so I don't think anything new is going to come to market while the government is shut down. That's my current expectations. I guess anything could happen because technically the rules are if the SEC doesn't stop you within 75 days. We can get into the weeds there if we really want. But basically, the new rules are basically if the SEC signs off on things or doesn't stop you, you can launch the product within 75 days of filing. Realistically, there's only 9-ish assets they're going to get approved before the end of 2025 that meet these new generic listing standards for like traditional spot products. But there's other ways to get around and launch like, these pseudo products that are almost like spot or are leverage or use derivatives and things like that to provide exposure in ETF wrapper. But as you said, I don't think any of those things are likely going to launch while the government is shut down.
Yeah. Do you think that these ETFs, which historically have had a significant impact on the crypto markets and have seen incredible inflows, do you think with the recent uprising of digital asset treasury companies in this publicly listed format, because now those are sort of in the spotlight and you can get exposure through these DATs, do you think we're going to see a little bit less anticipation and excitement around the ETFs when they do inevitably go live?
Yeah, I mean, so I have a few thoughts here, right? Like the long tail of assets, I mentioned there's 30 plus assets that are filed for ETFs. Some have like 20 plus filings related to them, like Solana and XRP and other Bitcoin and Ethereum products. I think the longer tail of assets are of assets like specific digital currencies. They're probably not going to get a ton of interest, right? Like just because you launch like the 47th largest digital asset in an ETF wrapper doesn't mean that this asset's going to take off because it simply has an ETF. I mean, if you look at the Bitcoin ETFs, part of the reason they did so well is because there was so much pent up demand. And when they launched, Bitcoin was roaring, right? Like it launched into early January and everyone was expecting it. A lot of money poured in. Initially, it was actually kind of a sell the news event. But long-term, money kept pouring in and it was a positive thing for the space. Ethereum is the opposite. For the first 5 months of its launch, they had net outflows for Ethereum ETFs because, market had dumped. It was in the summer. There wasn't a lot of demand. It came too quickly after the Bitcoin ETF launched. The narratives weren't clear. But then Trump got elected and it took off. And it's just another avenue for people to play the space, particularly TradFi types of people. So I think the same thing could happen for these other assets. So I think things like Solana and XRP, we know there's pent up demand there.
You know what? When I think about altcoin ETFs, there's one thing I always come back to. It's all about that massive pressure building up behind altcoin demand, and it's getting intense. Look at XRP, for example. This coin has already shown us some absolutely crazy demand levels this year. And honestly, I think we're just getting started. That demand is only getting stronger. But here's what makes ETFs such a game changer. We're getting hit with demand from every possible direction. First, you've got your typical crypto holders and day traders doing their thing. But then, and this is where it gets really exciting, you've got Wall Street heavyweights launching ETFs that are going to bring their massive client base directly into XRP. Think about it. XRP is the third largest crypto asset in the world. It's been one of those coins that everyone in the space has always wanted to get their hands on. People have always seen it as that safe play, like the crypto equivalent of a blue chip stock, sitting right there next to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And here's what really gets me pumped. When Wall Street fully jumps on this ETF train, I genuinely believe we're going to see XRP demand explode way beyond just the crypto crowd. We're talking about a whole new universe of investors.
So, honestly, I think this is going to put a massive spotlight on altcoins like we've never seen before, and XRP is sitting right in the front row, ready to steal the show. I mean, when you look at everything they've got going for them, just sitting there waiting for the green light. And of course, because it's XRP we're talking about, there's always got to be some roadblock throwing a wrench in the works and slowing things down. But we've already witnessed the absolute madness that happened with Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. And here's what I'm thinking. XRP could totally see that same explosive demand. Now, realistically, it might be on a slightly smaller scale, but honestly, who knows? The crypto market loves to surprise us, and XRP could completely blow our expectations out of the water. It might end up being even bigger than what we saw with Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's the beauty of this space. Anything can happen. And we're about to find out just how hungry the market really is for XRP. And here's another piece of the puzzle that's absolutely mind-blowing. We just got this update from Nate about Charles Schwab CEO talking crypto, and these numbers are insane. Get this. Schwab clients currently own 20% of all crypto exchange-traded products out there. That's 1 in every 5 crypto ETPs. But wait, it gets even crazier. Visits to Schwab's crypto site have skyrocketed by 90% in just the last year alone. Now remember, we're talking about Charles Schwab here, one of the absolute giants in the US brokerage world. When a company this massive is seeing this kind of crypto engagement from their clients, you know something big is happening. I really hope you caught those numbers because they're telling us a huge story about where this market is headed.
In crypto, we do offer crypto ETFs, Bitcoin futures, closed-end funds. In fact, our clients own 20% of all the crypto exchange-traded products in our country. So they've been very active. We've seen visits to our crypto site go up 90% in the last year. It's a topic that's of high engagement.
And listen, when you're hearing these kinds of massive numbers coming from a powerhouse like Charles Schwab, it really drives home just how hungry people are for crypto right now. This is exactly why I'm so bullish on XRP ETFs. Once they finally get that approval, I genuinely believe we're going to see money pouring in like crazy. I think XRP demand is about to absolutely explode. And here's the kicker. It's not just going to be the usual crypto crowd. We're talking about a completely new wave of investors from traditional finance who've never touched crypto before. And you know what? The whole crypto landscape is shifting in a major way. We've been talking about this for months. Remember how hostile everything used to be? That's all changing now. The regulatory fog is lifting, and when that happens, guess which projects are going to benefit the most? That's right, the utility-focused ones. And XRP? It's sitting right at the top of that list, perfectly positioned for this new era. Now, if you're wondering just how much demand is really out there for XRP, let me tell you, it's absolutely massive. And get this, we just got some absolutely wild news. Ripple just announced they're raising a whopping $1 billion to buy up even more XRP. And here's what makes this timing absolutely perfect. There's a massive line of treasury companies waiting to get in on XRP treasury operations right now. Talk about perfect timing, right? It's like watching all the pieces of a puzzle come together at once. And here's something really fascinating about XRP's performance. It's actually been crushing it over the past year, but I want to show you something interesting that's got me really excited. We're almost done with October right now, and if you remember back to October 2024, XRP actually had a pretty rough month. It was selling off hard and stuck in this nasty downtrend. But then something magical happened. It hit that major support level, bounced like a rocket,
and absolutely went parabolic from there. Now here's where it gets spicy. If you look at XRP right now, we're seeing the exact same pattern playing out. We've been in this major downtrend, and guess what? We just retested that crucial demand zone and those key support levels again. So the million-dollar question is, are we about to see history repeat itself with another explosive move to the upside? Because if we do, and I mean if we do, XRP could easily rocket to $10. But what would actually trigger a move that massive? What could be the spark that ignites this whole thing?
Well, here's what could be the perfect storm. Picture this. The government shutdown finally ends and boom, those ETF floodgates burst wide open for XRP. We've got a huge pile of ETFs just sitting there on the bench ready to jump into the game. And honestly, the stars are aligning in the most incredible way right now. The whole environment around XRP is getting absolutely electric. You've got Ripple on this acquisition spree, buying up companies left and right to supercharge their operations. And that directly benefits both XRP and the XRPL ecosystem. Then, as if that wasn't enough, they dropped this bombshell about raising $1 billion specifically to load up on XRP for treasury operations. I mean, come on, how much more bullish can you get? It's like watching a company put their money where their mouth is in the biggest way possible. This is the kind of confidence that gets me seriously pumped about what's coming next.
And going back to what James said in that video, the guy is absolutely spot on. ETFs have been absolutely crushing it with massive inflows, and we've already seen insane demand for Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. The numbers have been mind-blowing. But here's where it gets really exciting. Just imagine what's going to happen when these altcoin ETFs finally drop. I genuinely believe these altcoin ETFs are going to completely flip the script on how this market operates. This could be the catalyst that finally kicks off altcoin season. I'm talking about a complete game changer for altcoins across the board. We could be looking at the biggest altcoin rally we've ever witnessed, and it's all going to be triggered by institutional money flooding in through these ETFs. The potential here is absolutely massive.
And here's what makes this timing absolutely perfect. A ton of these altcoins are getting hammered right into major demand zones, and their RSI levels? They're hitting the most oversold levels we've seen since way back in July 2024. That's over a year of built-up selling pressure finally reaching a breaking point. When I look at XRP specifically, I'm genuinely confident that we're sitting pretty close to the bottom here. All the technical indicators are screaming oversold, and we've got these massive catalysts just sitting there, waiting for that government shutdown to end. Once that government finally gets back to business, I honestly believe we're going to see these altcoin charts absolutely explode with growth. And XRP? It's going to be leading the charge. So there you have it, guys. I hope you found this breakdown as exciting as I did. If this analysis helped you see the bigger picture, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely turn those notifications on so you don't miss any updates.